Illuminati Hotties, let me do one more album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? Johnny here from What's Spinning. Here tonight to chat about the latest album from Illuminati Hotties, LA-based indie rock and punk rock band who started off on a big way with their album Kiss Your Frenemies a couple of years back. And I thought it was pretty decent, especially the more upbeat and crunchy sounding tracks on here. Some of those guitar driven tracks were fantastic. In a lot of ways, it almost reminded me of what I enjoyed about indie rock of the late 80s and early 90s. But some of the slower tunes, I don't know, man, they just weren't for me. Personally, I thought their follow-up, This Is Not the One You've Been Waiting For, was a lot more concrete. It had more risks, it had a lot more personality, and I thought the songs were just catchier overall. And you know, I wasn't that excited for this album leading up to this, but honestly, the singles leading up to this album have been really solid. Let's chat about this thing. To be honest, the first leg of this album, the first half of it, is incredibly solid. Like pool hopping, not for nothing, I can't say no to this track. It is just so sunny, so catchy. And honestly, I've always loved, the more guitar-driven tracks in their discography. This is certainly one of them. It has a big, catchy riff. It's got an even catchier chorus. I'm all for this. Then we have MMMOOOAAAAYAYA. I don't know how the hell to pronounce it. And at first, I wasn't feeling this track at all. I don't know what it was, but I've come around to it in a big way. It is undeniably catchy. Between the carefree vibe and the infectious energy, this is just so likable. And that big sing-along hook, I'm always down for that. And this freaking production here is surprisingly solid. Knead, on the other hand, is a little bit slower, a little bit more on the calculating side. And truthfully, it's really sharp. A whole lot of this album is wonderfully written. Those super catchy keyboards, the crunchy riff, and these personal, incredibly charismatic performances. This is just really likable. I'll be honest, I thought I was going to have a lot more complaints about this album. And then we have Threatening Each Other regarding capitalism, and I might be in the minority here, but I think this is the best track here. Maybe one of the best tracks they've ever done. This is what indie rock needs right now. This is the risk that I crave right now in indie rock. This track takes a lot of very simple concepts that people can relate to, but bringing in these thoughts of buying in. I just think it's a really cleverly wrote song and the kind of risk we need right now. Also, UVVP featuring Buck Meek, big standout for me. Love the southern twang and the all-country vibes on here, as well as the sweet and tender lyrics. Like, at its core, this is still an Illuminati Hotties track, but this is also them branching out of their comfort zone, and Buck Meek really just, seals the deal on this track. I think his contributions are very solid. I still do have some reservations. It's the same thing over and over for me, and I hate to say it, but some of the slower tracks on here just are not for me. Take, for example, Protector. This is the faceless, passionless indie rock that I thought we were kind of getting away from. It's so drawn out. It's so boring. It takes forever. And honestly, it just takes away a lot of the feelings that I had about this album. I was having such a great time, and this track rolled around, and it just falls flat. And it's a shame because lyrically, it is such a powerful track and still worth your time. But Kickflip, it's even worse. This sounds so unfocused compared to like 75% of the rest of this album. And the sluggish pace, I'm not for it. It really just takes me out of the moment. Cheap Shoes, I feel like, is like the dark underbelly of most of this album. I like a lot of the more upbeat and crunchy material on this album, but then we get this, it's obnoxious. Really obnoxious. And Growth, as a finale, I'm kind of middle on the road on, lyrically and vocally, this is absolutely staggering and gorgeous and beautiful. I love the raw, sorrowful, dreary performances on that track. This is just fine. But I just wish this instrumental wasn't so one note. But while not perfect, I certainly get the hype. Joni, aka LA's #1 health goth, I think this is a fantastic track. I personally needed a track like this. It is raw, it is upbeat, it is wild. Personally, I've always gravitated towards their more punk material, and this is certainly that, and honestly, it's great. And then I hear Toasting featuring Alex Mene, and this is just so obvious. And it's 36 seconds, but it's easily some of the catchiest material on the album. Simplicity, man. It's key. And truthfully, I thought I was going to hate the sway. I heard that drum machine pick up and that was not what I wanted to hear. Truthfully though, this is one of the most breathtaking and tender tracks here. It is so enjoyable for a deep cut and so sweet. And honestly, it makes me worry less about the future of Illuminati Hotties. This album's not bad at all. I mean, yes, personally, for my taste, I still think some of the more drawn out and softer tracks on this album are just not what I go for in modern indie. It's not my cup of tea. I certainly understand if it is for you. There's certainly merit to all of it. But still, this is a very colorful, energetic, and exciting indie rock album that, has a lot of potential to it. You might like it even more than me, but for now, I'm feeling a very decent 7 on this album. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.